Hello everybody. I'm hoping everyone thinks this is a nice surprise. I was considering doing a final thoughts video in regards to Rochdale, as I always do with every outing. But to be fair, there's so much I wanted to bring up. I was juggling this morning and thought to myself, why don't I do a live stream? I'm pretty wary and scared, so be gentle with me. This is my first live stream on my own. Normally I have other people. The last one I had two other people. So there was three of us on the stream, which was very educational. I learned a lot and I enjoyed it. It was brilliant. I had good fun. So I thought I would do it. Thought, yeah, amalgamate different thoughts and feelings. Cheers. Oh, I'm getting some chat up as well. Nice one, guys. Thank you for tuning in. I hope you're all having a good Sunday evening or wherever you are, whatever time span you're in and whatnot. I hope you're all enjoying yourselves. It tends to be a bit flat on TV, doesn't it, this on a Sunday, so why not? Why not indeed? So yeah, it's for me, this was all about the DFLA coming together with UKIP, amalgamating in Rochdale and bringing up some real serious issues. My final thoughts was you know what, with it being on a midweek on a Thursday, it was tricky. A lot of people would have found it difficult to get to. Different guys saying hello, popping up. Yeah, nice one, guys. Thank you very much. Thank you. This is all new to me, having the little chatter at one side. Normally, I don't really get to see it. I kind of rely on other people kind of saying the chat. So, hello. Thank you for tuning in. Very much last minute, very much spontaneous. All in regards to the final thoughts in Rochdale. We need to make a stand here, and we are making a stand. I think it's positive that what the DFLA are doing, what the vets are doing, the direction that UKIP is taking. I absolutely think that the decision I made, having conversations with several people, including our beloved Baroness Tony Bugle, I do feel I'm making the right decision, because these guys are honourable, they're hardworking, and they're going about the whole process in the right way. So for me, I am buzzing. I am absolutely buzzing when I'm there. The direction that they're taking it in makes me feel good. The people that are organising it, I do feel they've got integrity and they're going about it in the right way. And them like anybody else within the march knows that it's not about racism, it's not about bigotry, it's about common sense, and it's about tackling the issues in hand. It's not about grandstanding and monopolising, it's about common sense pissing issues, and we all know this. So there should be no such thing as a counter protest. So with these guys, I'm finding with Telford as with Rochdale, something's changed for me. Now, I'm thinking, and I've said it before on another stream, the fundamental problem we've got right now is more than enough to worry about. And it's that problem that's being introduced to you that we do feel you've got to tackle. Like the proverbial petrol bomb being thrown through your window when you just sat watching TV. although you've got to address that first, because immediately that is what is there. Now, that metaphor for me, I relate that to radical Islam and the Islamization of the country that's being done in a stealth manner, not being open. The question is, when that petrol bomb hits your living room floor, petrol disperses, the flames engulf. You've got to address that, which is what we've been doing. But at the same time, you do need to look at who's thrown that petrol bomb and why. So with this, the DFLA, on the two occasions, with it being Telford and now in Rochdale, for me, this has opened up another side door in Pandora's box, if that makes any sense. So I don't know. It's given me food for thought. It's a journey we're still travelling along. It's one that we all, for me, I don't think we know the answers yet. There was a lady that we were speaking to, Linda. Now, Linda is the mother of a suburb of mine called Craig. Craig was sending me links from months back. He's been a veteran subber, so nice one, whether you tuned in or not, mate, nice one. A big hello to you. But this was all about Linda for me this day, and Linda's story, which it totally hasn't come out yet. I would love to have a one-on-one interview with Linda. So if Craig is watching, if anybody's watching related to Craig, can get a message back to him or Linda, I would love to, because Linda's story, we only got a little slice of it within the clips that I managed to kind of put up, whether anyone else managed to speak to her. But you could have a whole special just on Linda and her story, for how long she's been going with this fight, for what's happened to her and her son. So going back to Craig, which I'm surmising is a younger son, so this has not affected him, but he's directly affected because he's a family member. That's how I'm reading it. I might be wrong, Craig, so I do apologise if I've got it wrong there, but that's how I'm reading it. I'm taking it's an older brother or brother-in-law, mate, I don't know, that this has happened to. So this is why I need to have a good sit-down chat with Linda. If she would like it to be filmed and if she would like me to put it on the channel, I would love to, seriously. But Craig sent me an article a few days ago, before the actual event, in fact, and I've only just read it, because I'm sorry guys, there's a lot of comments that I've just not got to. There's so many coming in with different links, different, and I can't really get to them all. But with this one that I read from Craig, which he'd sent a few days before the event, and it was a story, Cambridge House, Knoll View and Rochdale. Now, this is why, for me, the story just spans off, because grooming gangs, sexual exploitation of young girls that have been passed around through northern cities and cities all around the country. That was the initial reason. We get to Rochdale, we get to Telford, there seems to be something else which is more politically, more council fed, you could imagine. So, this article, an inquiry into allegations of the sexual abuse and exploitation of children residing at or attending Cambridge House Boys Hostel, Knollview School, and other institutions where their placement was arranged or provided by Rochdale Borough Council. So it basically lifts the lid on suspected wrongdoings over the years within this school. This goes right back to Cyril Smith, as well as many others. So, like the BBC journalist wanted to allude to. Sorry guys, I'm going to flick a light on. Just bear with me 1 second. Modern technology. So, just like the BBC journalist alluded to, that because Dan mentioned that one word, extremism, he then flipped on Dan, or tried to. And, well, why are you talking about Cyril Smith and then extremism? Well, fundamentally, what's been going on, you've got to think of extremist views, in a sense. I mean, what's been going on fundamentally under our noses, it's absolutely astounding. The average person wouldn't comprehend it. The average person mentally might not even want to go there, because if they do, that will make them have to rewrite their history, what they felt, the parties they've felt, the people they've got behind. So this is a Pandora's box that nobody wants to kind of open, because it's freaking horrible. And as with Telford and as with Rochdale, I'm now becoming the WTF. I've no idea how deep. I mean, I could go on. I mean, this is TV, radio personalities, top-ranking police, QCs, judges, churches within charities, high-powered politicians, organisations, monarchs, UN peacekeepers. There's been allegations against other so-called charities. Police examining claims that Sir Edward Heath sexually abused children have been the victim of a chilling campaign of silence. A Conservative MP has said on the eve of the conclusion of a 2-year investigation into the former Prime Minister. The Wiltshire Police report on the allegations of abuse is expected to say there were the initial grounds to suspect Heath, and that would have been merited interviewing him under criminal caution had he still been alive. I'd heard that, to be fair, through Operation Conifer. I'd heard that probably at least 12 months ago, if not longer than that. But for me, the one term that I would use that would be very relevant to this is, and all of it, is conspiracy of silence. That's the problem we're facing. That's what the real issue is now. Is that it goes that deep. The tentacles are that far spreading that you can understand why inquiries break down, because of the sheer knowledge that if most people are not participating in it, they know of someone directly that's doing it. If they don't know someone directly that's doing it, they know by 6 degrees that somebody is involved in it. It is, for me, that is widespread through all establishments to the highest degree. So ladies like Linda, their voices need to be heard. When we presented the letter, as in the DFLA presented it at the council steps, you could tell that councillor, he looked like he had about as much remorse as a tea towel. He just didn't give a shit. He was just sat there, or stood there rather, just soaking it up, and he just wanted to kind of give out the initial, well, you know, we're sorry, this, you know, the usual template of excuses. Now, from what I was led to believe, from what Linda was saying, that meeting that was being chaired at that time should have been more for public consumption, and it wasn't, you know. Now we hear that a MP has been suspended. I'm surmising from that meeting. Now, this is an article I got from the Telegraph, and I'm assuming it's talking about this meeting. And the headline is, Rochdale Council leader lied to inquiry about child sex abuse. And anything I read out in, I will try and put the link on for when I do upload this and the other, so people can refer to these stories and read them all thoroughly themselves, yeah? The bullish and self-opinionated former leader of Rochdale Council lied to an inquiry about his knowledge of a sex child abuse scandal. A panel was found. Richard Farnell's claims that he was unaware of sexual exploitation of boys at a residential school in the town defies belief, its report concluded, while his refusal to accept responsibility for the scandal whilst heaping blame on others, it described it as shameful. He was immediately suspended by the Labour Party on Thursday. More than 40 men claim that they were abused at various locations in Rochdale, including Knoll View School and Cambridge House Hostel between the early 60s and the mid-90s. So that's 30-year span. The Independent Inquiry into Child Sex Abuse, IICSA, which I've had many conversations with people, that does not say, it should say the Independent Inquiry into Child Sex Abuse. That's what it should be known. Now, if that means that you've got to type up more, then you've got to type up more. To type in brackets IICSA does not really bring gratitude or make it seem as serious as it actually is. A panel of staff at the council-run school, which is now closed, as a complacent and arguably complicit in the abuse of boys, which was treated as normal. So this is really all that you're hearing all the time. In a damning report, it said the authorities showed a lack of urgency to address sexual exploitation and regarded the young victims as authors of their own abuse. Now, we remember that Linda's complaint that come back, albeit through leaked means, but when it come back, what did it have stamped on it? If anyone's seen the footage, it had a big bold stamp with irrelevant stamp right in the middle. So this, it alludes to it. It totally alludes to the systematic quietening down. I mean, he's been suspended, and quite rightly so. I mean, you know, more should happen. But it's not just him. This has been going on for decades. There's been a conspiracy of silence going on for decades. So it doesn't stop there. Now, I don't know why. For me, they've chose to drive the bus over this guy, but quite rightly so, because of his arrogance and the way he's regarded the whole situation. It shows where his head has been at throughout it all. But certainly, there's more people, and it's not just Rochdale. One of the DFLA, I think it was Justin, when we was talking at the police station, he mentioned that one of the reports, or many reports he was getting, that Telford girls was turning up in Rochdale and Rochdale girls were turning up in Telford. I mean, that is organisation. That is mafioso style organisation. So you can't just burn one geezer for that. Not when you've got Ted Heath, who was a Prime Minister at that time, that is heavily involved, and so many other politicians. Conspiracy of silence. I keep using that terminology because to me it is so relevant. Now, I actually touched on a documentary that was called Conspiracy of Silence, that was made by Yorkshire TV in the early 90s, I do believe. They went over to Washington. They went over to Iowa and Nebraska to film or get footage, get a story on a suspected paedophile ring. Now, what they soon discovered when they got there, that this story was like, it exploded. It went from a paedophile ring to a whole scenario where there was one chap in particular, a Republican, a black Republican called Lawrence King. This is all documented. I can even put this in the link. The actual documentary itself is fascinating, but it is sickening, and it's only an indictment of where we are in terms of elites and what is going on around us to our children, you know? And it shows how he's systematically procuring kids for all over the world, for different celebrities, and, you know, using underground tunnels at schools, and it's truly sick. But then it becomes apparent that initially the Discovery Channel had financed Yorkshire TV to do this documentary. Now, it never actually got aired, because on the eve of it airing, the Discovery Channel withheld its support. This is all documented. Withheld its support of the actual documentary, and then reimbursed Yorkshire TV to the tune of £500,000. Now, I'm sure in them days, I'm sure it's paid a lot away. So it never actually got aired, but it is still on the net. I re-downloaded it today, so it is still available. Conspiracy of Silence. Now, it shows that within any organisation, you can have something so fundamentally corrupt through need-to-know basis, compartmentalisation, out-and-out secrecy, threats, intimidation. You can see what can actually exist at them top levels. And that's what I'm worried about now. We've got a faith system that is domineering or starting to domineer through political correctness. But look at the people that are doing it. The people that are allowing it are leaders. So I'm not giving anyone a pass here. But this story is just so much bigger, you know? So much bigger. Just having a little drink of water there, guys. I mean, you can steer it towards the church as well. The church are well in on this. This was another article I've seen. The Catholic Church must stop blaming victims. Children cannot consent to sex. And it alludes at the kind of U-turn in the church in their stance of even young children that are reporting abuse. The church are turning around and saying, well, you know, in some ways you've consented to it. And you get the feeling they're doing it under a veil of they are totally protecting the actual perpetrator of the crime, you know. So I'll just read one section. Yet years of revelations about child sex abuse have shown that this is not a settled question even within trusted institutions that should know better. We know that. The independent inquiry into child sexual exploitation in Rotherham found police officers believed girls as young as 11 consented to sex. In Rochdale, council employees said they thought victims of child sex abuse were making their own choices. So you couple that back to that dickhead councillor that was stood at them gates, stood actually opposite Linda and stood opposite the interim UKIP leader and members of the DFLA with lack of concern. He had the social awareness of a frigging apple. He certainly did not know how to come across to people. Whether he is complicit in this or not, it is on his watch. So you would have thought that there would be some kind of, no, I've given my statement, see you later. That was the worst public display I have seen to date when people who've got a grievance are delivering a letter. That was the worst one I've seen. That councillor, his reaction, the look on his face, the fact that he couldn't wait to get out of there. And he didn't give a shit. And there was all kinds of other questions being thrown at him. And he turned his back and walked away. So that was evident. So, employees said that, right, making their own choices. And in my own work as a lawyer representing survivors of child sexual abuse, I've seen how the Catholic Church, when dealing with allegations of child sex abuse, often looks to place the blame straight on the feet of the victim. 2 years ago, the Catholic Church was swift to publicly condemn Father Gino Flayam, a priest in northern Italy, who, in the context of discussing paedophilia, said some children seek attention from priests that they do not receive at home, and some priests give in to this. Do you hear that? So, it's fundamentally the kid's fault. The priests, professing the word of God, they give in to the temptations of the perpetrator, which is what we know is the victim. For me, I've always felt, I might be wrong in saying this is my personal opinion, I think to deny yourself of a sexual urge, if you are that way inclined, if you like sex and you all of a sudden become celibate, I think that lays the ground for a rocky road. Not to say that everyone who lives a celibate lifestyle thinks like this, because I am not saying that at all. what has become evident to me over the years, when you've got guys that marry the cloth, marry the church, they live this life of celibacy, it kind of opens up vices, whether they were that way inclined or not. Maybe it's developed over time, maybe it's not. I think historic documentation of different situations that have happened over decades, happened throughout the Catholic Church, happened with priests in this country, in Ireland, and many other countries worldwide. That has to be a greater question, you know? But that, for me, this is why the story gets so big. And it just blows it right up, because these guys, because they're in a position of power, whether they be of the cloth, whether they be politicians, it's systematic abuse of that power. So my point being, if they are capable of doing this, then when it comes to immigration, who says we have what kind of medication, who dictates through duty of care, through money and resources, where the money should go and who it should go to. These are the people. These are the people. I'm just reading some current comments here. So, I loved that event. Gerard Batten. Let's talk about Gerard Batten, okay? Gerard Batten, our interim UKIP leader, who for me is, I've only met him once, I've heard him a few times speak, now I've met him in person. The only thing I can say about the man is what I would regard as a true gentleman. His demeanour, the way he stands up for the working class, regardless of his background. He might be himself. You know, I'm just going off how I've regarded him on that day. Thought him very kind and considerate. I thought his points were strong and well driven. And there was one clip that really warmed me to the guy, is when Linda was brushing through her papers to try and get out the document to prove the point she was talking about. And just by chance, one of the papers slipped out of her hand and started blowing up the street or down the pathway. Gerard Batten got on his toes. I stood there, to be fair, I was filming, but I stood there, watched it go by, and there was a few other people. He was first one to it. He legged it to it. And the first thing I noticed is that how many politicians would do that? Yeah? Because there was one of his assistants who was there. I'm not castigating him for not getting that, but what I'm saying is that in a normal scenario, our politics is so pompous and stuck up that these guys expect their little fledglings to do all that type of stuff because they're, too important. But for Gerard to get straight on his toes, and catch that piece of paper without, there was no even, it wasn't an embarrassing situation, because it's like, that's what's made you so popular. That's why people like you, because you're a normal bleeding geezer. To do what you've done, to be so charming in a situation like that, So, and when you listen to the guy's no nonsense, the guy makes a lot of sense. So, I love that. That was brilliant to watch. I do feel the alliance with UKIP DFLA, I'll go back to what I was saying at the beginning. There's a lot of positivity coming out of it for me. It's all positive angles in which that we're tackling various issues, as it seems. Because this is a little sidestep. But I think everyone's come along with the ride because we know how sick the whole system is. So I've not actually read a comment yet, although I've not read them all, but I've not read a comment in regards to this footage that's trying to say, listen guys, forget about that, it's all about radical Islam. It's like we all know that this plays a bigger part, but yet obviously it's heavily related to that problem. So it's all one and the same. But at the same time, in order to cut the cancer out, drain the swamp, just do all that stuff, for me, rather than chasing our tails, we need to go to the direct source, which are these sick mofos that are doing this to us. And they're doing it to our people anyway. And then allowing, through their laws and regulations, to allow this, to allow that, to allow that. And oh, you better not say anything because under political correctness, you be racist. So it's the usual scenario that we're confronted with. So to me, you've got to tackle it and get it in a headlock. Now, to say I'm right for saying that, I'm not saying I'm right. I'm starting to think more like that. That this, you talk about Elm Guest House, it's the whole scenario is absolutely massive. And me personally as an individual, I ain't even qualified or got the mental capacity to cover all this. Because you want to see my taskbar now, lined up with all kinds of stuff talking about this, and I'm like, whoa, how am I going to go through this one by one? But it is totally all linked. We as people are getting fundamentally spammed. And you know what I mean? Without putting any lube on. And that's what's happening. The system is doing that to us. And they're using certain incompatible forces to throw against us. But essentially, the people that govern us and make us all these decisions are as wrong as the day is long. Just a rabbit hole. It's a rabbit hole that's getting deeper and deeper. The more you look into it. Now, it's whether you want to look there. Because I know, some people might just want to stay, yeah, and I get it. I totally get it. Because that's what you're seeing and that's the problem in hand, yeah. I'm trying to step back a little bit, but even I'm not stepping back farther enough because the man that knows something knows that he knows nothing at all. So we're all novices in this, trying to find our way. So within that, it's even more confusing when you've got counter-protest forces, although I will say there was not one counter-protest in the Rochdale March. So whether common sense prevailed or whether they just stayed away because it was just too goddamn dirty because it's talking about a load of politicians as well. So let's just not go there and be the counter-protest because the fingers will soon get pointed back at us because that's what it's alluding to. So maybe that was the reason why no counter-protest was steered at that march. Because we're talking about Labour here, aren't we? We're talking about lefties that are letting this shit happen in our towns and cities. So we better not. Just let them have their little protest. Let's sweep it under the carpet. But this is what I'm saying. This is just as important. When you're talking how many children this has affected. The reason why I started was with my YouTube channel was because of the Manchester Arena event, which happened coincidentally on my birthday. May the 22nd is my birthday. So of that late evening, I first got told by my wife. We were both laying next to each other in bed and she's telling me the story. And my first thing that I do remember saying to her, oh, well, this is problem, reaction, solution, isn't it? And my wife, because she's not well inclined on all this, she leaves me to it, God bless her. She's becoming more and more awake, but, she doesn't follow it as keenly as I do. She kind of looked at me as if to say, oh, you've got no sympathy. And I wasn't saying that, because people do get hurt and people can get hurt, but it don't mean to say that that problem wasn't created for a reason. So that was my first initial thought. But at the same time, with the reaction to what was going on in Manchester in terms of the way we should react to it with a nice little vigil, it pissed me off. So I decided to join people that wanted to talk about the common sense issue on what is actually happening. So that has been not the start of my rabbit hole, because I was awake way before that in terms of other topics, let's say. But this is becoming more and more scope to it. Ministers drop plans to compel reporting of suspected child abuse. So this was a plan to put safety guards in place, where you're talking about if your doctor, if your teacher, anyone who maybe has a more first-hand seeing your child or in contact with your child, that if they see anything, say anything. Now, I know there's part of me that goes, well, you don't want to live in that world where everyone's grassing each other up. And I do get that, because you can get that even though this has got the right intentions, it can be used by people who will just say the wrong thing about somebody, got the wrong, end of the stick, and because of it, a whole new system will click into place. So I get that. But you do find that a lot of these problems that were happening to us now is happening because we haven't got safety guards. So it says here, the proposal for a legal duty on professionals in England to report signs of child abuse or child neglect were first proposed in July 2016 in a joint Home Office / Department of Health consultation paper in the wake of the Savile, Rotherham and Rochdale scandals. The 2016 consultation paper suggested the new duty could be applied not only to professional practitioners such as social workers, but also administrative and social support staff such as school secretaries, caretakers and dinner ladies. The consultation paper suggested that individuals could face professional or criminal sanctions for failing to take their appropriate action where child abuse was known or suspected. So that's what I mean. So what are they saying there? Are they saying, well, don't put the blame on me, so I'm having nothing to do with it, so I'll vote against it? Because they're trying to say that you should really act in a more appropriate manner if you see something, whether it be politically correct to say it or not. Doesn't matter. It's irrelative of the colour of the skin, the ethnicity. If a certain crime to this nature is carrying on, no matter what the skin tone, you've got to say it, surely. So only 25% were in favour of a duty to act, and less than half of that number, 12%, supported introducing mandatory reporting. So they all wimped out, didn't they? So just leave it, just carry on. It's not happened to my kid, so why do we need to bring in any other kind of implementations that might have a chance of stopping it? But I do get the concerns. Maybe I've not listened to any concerns here, but that's my obvious concern. It could be used in the wrong way, but surely it's better than what's existing at this moment in time. So, I find it all very intriguing. I found going to the police station, handing over that letter, same again. In regards to the DFLA, the way they acted, I think it's Jimmy, the tallest member of the DFLA. does a lot of the speaking when it comes to presenting. What an absolutely straight up guy. Powerful, stands there, knows what he's talking about, delivers it very well indeed. I think he done the same in Telford as he'd done in Rochdale. I thought the guy's done tremendously well. There seems to be a similar thing in terms of the police that are turning up. They have very nice shiny lapels and they seem to take the envelope and shake hands, and I don't think it means too much. I thought it meant well. I thought the people, all those that were there addressed him with consideration and respect, which is another reason why I think this movement is getting more validated now. Because even the police now realise that we're not the bad guy here. It's common sense. Common sense, all ages, all ethnicities, all backgrounds, all worried. So I was talking about this with Great Brit and yesterday in a conversation. So hello to you, Great Brit. An excellent idea that Great Brit has brought up, which I'm going to bring up later on. But we were talking about many things, and one of the things we were talking about is that a few years ago, to be able to present a letter to the police, for the police to even bother turning up, would be pretty much unheard of. In fact, you probably would have got more police in riot shields and frigging shin pads and batons and horses. That's how it kind of would have been regarded. For me, I might be wrong, but with these guys, they're coming across in a way that's appealing to all levels, which is smarter than any other movement I've seen. Now, when I say movement, I'm talking DFLA, I'm talking the veterans. One, the way they work together, but two, the way they work independently and what they stand for as individuals as well as what they stand for as a collective. I think that shines through. So it's almost like it's demanding respect for me from the police. You try and get it from the council, but you get some muppet who is a bit of a social retard. A bit of a social leper. He looks like someone in a party that no one could really talk to on a normal level because he can't come down to anyone's level. He's like, I've got 2 statements and I've got to go. I mean, try putting him in front of this camera now, try and talking about this. Not to say I'm brilliant, but I initially recognised that guy was a wronger. And if you're going to send him out to get that letter, and you're going to ask him to apologise with the boat race he's got and what he's got written all over his face, like he couldn't give a shit. He's like he's got a brew going cold upstairs, and I've got my brew. Freaking hell, 10 o'clock break here. Do you want to make it quick? And he couldn't care. So to get these other organisations, I feel we're on the right way. We're on the right path. As well as many other things that are going on in the country and the world, globally. I'm on it. I'm definitely loving it. So, what else can we talk about? Spoke about various different issues there. Hopefully I've done alright, considering it's my first one on my own. When you're kind of with other people, you can lean on them to do a bit of talking, and you can just stay out of it, grab a little drink and get your head together on what you were going to say. But it's literally just been me going bam, 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 bam. So I'm open making sense. I'm open being coherent, guys. I hope you're enjoying it. I'm still getting some comments there. Phil, you have, I've read, what? As far as any UKIP for Britain should work together on this. Yes, you're damn right there. Gold, that will change. Great Brit. Nice one, my friend. He's on it right. So since I've seen your comment, Great Brit, I'm going to talk about an idea Great Brit had. And I don't know how many people know about it, but guys, when he told me about this idea, at, at first Great Britain, he told me, I thought, all right, yeah, I can see how it might work. But the more I thought about it, the more I thought it's absolutely fantastic. Now, what Great Britain's talking about is leading up to the march that Tony Bugle, aka the Baroness, Maria's, which is a well-worthy organisation, is promoting a march to be held in August, which is basically women getting out, women showing their distaste, what's going on with Sharia law and all other issues that are going on, yeah? It's not a feminist march. If anyone knows Tony ain't no feminist by any means. She's a real common sense person that does a hell of a lot of pissing work. And this march is held in August in London. Details to be given out, I'm sure, if you go to marias.org, which is Tony is a lovely organisation's page. But particularly the idea, I don't know what eureka moment Great Brit had, okay? So what he's done, he's thought along the lines of, okay, with the issues in hand, with it being sexual exploitation of children, the procurement of children, all the different issues that are going on. The one thing, as with any rape case that you hear of, particularly of a child of innocent years, is that you feel that innocence is somehow robbed, yeah? Never the same again, you know? And you can totally understand why. Now, one thing that will relate to this situation more than anything is something my daughters have got on the end of their beds, and I know some female adults have got them on the end of their beds still, which are teddy bears. A teddy bear can depict all different things in all different manner of situations, but particularly Great Britain, I feel, I'm paraphrasing here, but I feel he's trying to depict a child that their innocence has been robbed because of what's happened, and what better way to show a teddy bear. So Great Brit is eureka moment, and I do believe he sent some prototypes up to Tony Bugle. Now I've not spoke to Tony about this. I'm going to speak to her about it tomorrow. She's actually got some, so I don't know what she thinks of them and this, that and the other, whether she's got round to looking at them. I've really no idea. I spoke to her the other day, but she didn't mention this, but she's a busy lady. I thought to be on the march and every lady holds one of these teddies up, I thought, how fantastic would that look? The message for what it is. Now, let me go further with the description of the teddy. Now, I'm going to try and move my camera around, okay? And I'll put it back, but I just want to show my screen, whether it can show it. So, there's the actual teddy bears there, yeah? Okay? There's a whole manner of different bears. You've got, each bear has got a different town or city that's been affected by sexual exploitation. Let's semantically say it right. So you've got Rotherham, Rochdale, Newcastle, Dewsbury, Telford, Coventry, Yeovil, Trafford, Bradford rather. There's apparently, I'm sure Great Brit mentioned 75 different places affected. Now, I'm not saying he's got 75 different jerseys set up. Moving forward, I've no idea how he's going to organise this, but I thought it's an absolutely brilliant idea. If we could get, imagine this, I mean, something like this could go viral. You know how you get these stupid little things that go viral on Facebooks and your social media, you know, that probably start with the right intent, but just people just lose what the true meaning's about. This could actually take off. You could have this teddy bear, a photograph of this teddy bear in different locations of the world. Hashtag sexual exploit. I don't know, it could be whatever. But soon as you look at the t-shirt, soon as you see the Marias, soon as you see the individual teddy bear itself, you know exactly what it's all about, you know exactly what it represents. But yet behind it is the Eiffel Tower or the pyramids at frigging Giza or Teotihuacan. You know, you could just, for me, that's how, even Great Brit said, I'm a bloody genius, me. Because I think he felt and he knows that the potential of this, where it goes, who knows? You know, he might just sell. I've bought 4, personally. Because it's something, no, I bought 5 in fact. I've chose 5 different ones. And my idea, and I think Great Brit's idea as well, was to, when you do videos, have the teddy in the background. So for me, that's what I'll be doing. I mean, I won't be taking the teddy bear on marches. That don't really look good, but certainly when I'm doing videos, I can't say I'll be taking it to work with me. Same again, I'm in a male-orientated environment, which, you know, has a few women floating in and out, but you don't normally see guys with steel-toe cap boots walking past you in the canteen with teddy bears in the hand. So I've got to get in and out of work in one piece, so there's only certain places I will be able to walk around with it. But certainly every video from now on, I will have one, if not more. Like I say, I've bought more than one, so I intend to give some away. Maybe I'll give some away to wonderful subbers. I don't know, I've not even thought about that. I've not thought about it. I've just thought I'd buy a representation and I'd be able to show it. And when I do, I know Great Brit's in the process of sending me. I've not received them yet, so when I get them, I will be showing them. And I'll do a whole video on it and try and push it as much as possible. Great Brit works his arse off, watching clips upon clips. So if this may show a little bit of gratitude plus a little penance his way, then so be it. So be it. You know, the guy's worth it, you know. But essentially you could see it. I could see something positive really going from that. So that is that. So, right, do I cover this? Oh my word. Right, well, you know what, guys? This was another reason, really, why I wanted to do this stream instead of do a video, because I know there was plenty to kind of talk about in different ways, and I knew one video would just go on way too long. So, this was a story that I was sent in a link probably a week or so ago. And it's got relevance for a couple of reasons. It's regarding Teresa the Appeaser. Probably the story, in order to be totally fair and open, you would have to say would need thoroughly fact-checking. Although the article itself does sound convincing. But same again, you know, I haven't fact-checked all of this. So, you know, maybe to people, same again, if I've covered this story tonight, if I think on, I'll throw a link to the individual article and people can make their own assumptions. I'm not saying this is the word. But I read the article, I've read it twice, and it's a little bit food for thought. Now, the article is about Theresa May, and it's called Theresa May's Father. Okay, and it's by a journalist, Johnny Vedmore. And the actual heading itself, the serial killer, the traveller's daughter, and the cover-up. Now, it alludes to Theresa May's father that was born in 1917. And to cut a long story short, it goes really into some kind of form of depth. But it basically, in 1939, Howard Chamberlain had changed subscription laws, which meant that more younger guys of the population could join the army, or had to join the army, or were eligible to join the army. So Reverend Herbert Brazier was Theresa May's father. He was born in 1917, and in 1939 was aged 22. Now, he was eligible at the time. Now, it says in the article, he weighed up the pros and cons, whether he wanted to fight or whether he wanted to do something else. So it says at the age of 23, he joined the priests at the Community of the Resurrection Seminary School in Mirfield, West Yorkshire. In 1942, he was ordained, and his first placement, the Church of the St Andrew and Sandhurst Road in Catford. Right, okay. So, just little bits. The story is very long and you need to see it all yourself. So, little bits. Theresa May's father, still a bachelor priest at this point in history. During the war life, the whole of London could be savage. The bombing brought death daily to Lewisham, and the number of funerals were overwhelming for all of the logical religious institutions. When war ceased, Herbert continued to serve the Anglican Catholic community at Catford until 1948, where he was relocated to Reasgate in Surrey and the very small steeple-free church of St Luke. Right, and it basically says in a contrast that it was different to what he was used to. Right, so it kind of carries on a little bit and then it gets to the serial killer. Now it alludes to the following year, 1953, Herbert became the chaplain All Saints at Eastbourne Hospital in Sussex. Over the next 6 years, he would work alongside the famous serial killer Dr. John Bodkins Adams. For those who are unaware of Dr. John Bodkins Adams, he was believed to be the Harold Shipman of his age, which I'm sure everyone knows what Harold Shipman was all about. He would usually prey upon his more elderly patients, convincing them to put him in their wills, of which over 130 complied. They soon given an injection by Bodkins, and basically, that was it. The suspicion was not a well-kept secret amongst staff at Eastbourne Hospital. Most of the nurses had voiced their concerns to their superiors. They were believed to have been ignored on purpose, as the newly founded NHS was considered to be under political threat and a scandal, and this could see a general practitioner sentenced to death was to be avoided at all costs. So there was conspiracy of silence. Yeah? The problem was Dr. Bodkin Adams just couldn't stop himself. He was being protected by Lord Duane, who was believed to be his secret gay lover. Same again, this all could be fact-checked, I guess. and was an extremely well-connected politician. So it goes on. It goes on that Brazier would have given the last rites to many of those killed by Adams, and basically there was a bit of a connection. It's a bit later on. I'm not going to read it all. I'm just going to go straight to where it says the cover-ups, because there's more to that. Right, so there is a life of Herbert Fraser. It doesn't seem like there is much to see. Yet just after Theresa May took over Number 10, her campaign team started to request the deletion of web addresses linked to Herbert Brazier. If you were to go on Wikipedia and type in Herbert Brazier or Brazier, there will be no results. I first realised that he had once had a wiki entry when I found a version of it in French and then one in Spanish. Any researcher has wonderfully named Wayback When Machine to help them nowadays. You can go to the archive and find pages that have been deleted, only if you can work out the original web address. In this case, you can copy and paste the Wikipedia page and address of Herbert Brazier to the end. You will see Herbert's Wikipedia page and all its former glory from a snapshot achieved on the 17th of July 2016. For some reason, the people around May or May herself do not want you looking into the history of Herbert Brazier. After researching Herbert's life, I came across many pages that have been removed, links to nowhere, and a few conspiracy theories too. On investigation, Herbert's wiki entry, there is nothing damning present. It's not a large entry, it covers only the basics, so why would you want it removed? The important information it seems to contain is Herbert's placements within the Church of England, and that's he Theresa's May father. On the 8th of July 2014, Theresa May and the Home Secretary oversaw an appointment of Baroness Butler Slosh to the inquiry to set up to investigate child sex abuse by prominent politicians, clergy in the previous decades. Within 6 days of the announcement of Baroness Butler Slosh as the chair, she was forced to stand down for obvious conflicts of interest. Theresa May had selected somebody whose brother was Attorney General during some of the periods being investigated. Later that same year, May chose it. Now, if I'm right, somewhere, skipping on. To get things so badly wrong must be almost impossible. Theresa May never seemed to meet any of her immigration targets as Home Secretary, and it is truly hard to name her recorded achievements while she has been in office. But the inquiry into child sex abuse seems to be something. Theresa May does not want to face. My thoughts are that the investigation will focus on Tory MPs who frequented the infamous Elm Guest House, but also the Diocese of Chester or Chichester, once the home to the father Herbert Brazier. More to it. There is more to it. Conspiracy of silence. There's more to uncover. Tap it all in. Boys Town Club, Washington, Conspiracy of Silence, Yorkshire TV. I really want to talk to Linda. I really would love an interview with Linda. In Craig's presence. Craig wants to be there, it's no problem with that. Just to get the whole story out. Because I do feel that we was covering a story, there was a little element of that story, but we could hear the whole story of that. And sooner rather than later, really, I've got work, I'm sure Craig's got work, I'm sure Linda's a busy lady, so at some point, maybe the three converge at some point and just maybe talk about it. If Linda would like it recording and like it putting on my channel, I would be more than happy to do so also. So I do believe that that's kind of, I mean, apart from, I want to give a big shout out to Tony Bugle, and I do implore you to all go to the Mothers Against Radical Islam and Sharia Law, the marias.org page. Very worthwhile cause. And I'm going to get a little bit selfish here. Just over 9,000 subscribers. Absolutely fantastic. Cheers for jumping aboard, guys. You don't know how much it means. At the same time, it's scaring the bloody life out of me as well. But I must admit, I've only been doing this, what are we talking, 7-8 months, literally. So this is all very new. I'm meeting tons of people that are absolutely fantastic, which is only bolstering my opinion and making me think, you know what, you're doing the right thing filming these guys, because there's a voice that needs to be heard from a different angle. These guys are just getting castigated when it's not justified. You can see why they're getting hit, they're getting sideswiped. There's been all kinds of shenanigans and twisting and persecution that's going on. So for me as an individual, regardless of the colour of my skin, I'm like, I just see the wrong in this, and that is plain as day. So I hope you don't think that Red Pill Phil's going off topic here at all, because to me this is all relevant, and it is the rabbit hole that is getting bigger and bigger. I thought I was stuck in it and I couldn't go any further, and just a load of it's collapsed, and it's just opened up this big cavern now, and there's just more to explore there, and there's going to be more. You know, you talk about the establishment, you talk about the secret services, your MI5s, your MI6s, your GCHQs, and you know, you talk about it. There's so much that we don't even realise, and all these stories, at least, there's some relevance, there's some link there. I don't know what it is yet, and I'm sure none of us really can connect the dots yet. We think we do, but stories like this tell us, don't be so quick to kind of judge and just assume that's what the bigger picture's all about, because it's still changing. Yeah? I'll never forget a WikiLeaks, where they uncovered, there was CIA files that uncovered that the CIA had full knowledge that the JFK assassination, they had ballistic reports to suggest he was shot from the front. Now, that's always been a conspiracy theory. The word conspiracy, or words conspiracy theory, were derived to curtail. That was almost like the 60s political correctness. You know, don't talk about that, we'll just say that to you, and then you've got to re-defend, and by then your idea's diluted, and you've been that heavy defending it that you've lost where you're coming from. So it's been used to good effect, but that again is like the word Nazi. There's less and less currency in it. So for me, last year I done a video in regards to that WikiLeaks. Is that not only that, they also found that they had reasonable suspicion, this is all documented, reasonable suspicion to suspect that Hitler was living up until the 1950s in Argentina. This is the CIA. But yet, my kid will go to school tomorrow and their very next subject will be the Second World War. Them teachers will still tell my daughter that Adolf Hitler took a frigging suicide pill and died with Eva Braun in a bunker somewhere, when they know. So this is the point. This is why, although some things might seem conspiracy, you give it a bit of time. Like Nanny Robinson says, give it a bit of time. Sometimes it becomes fact. And that's where we're at now. This might seem, oh, why is he on about that? But I think there's a link, there's a canal passage that's joining a lot of him. So, thank you very much to everyone. I seem to have got through it. I don't know whether you found it beneficial or not. I hope you enjoyed, guys. A big thank you to anyone who's paid into PayPal. You don't know what it means. Forward projection, I can get things organised. Thank you very much. If anyone would like to pay in, it is paypal.me/redpillphil1. That's paypal.me/redpillphil1. Anything you can manage, £1, 50p, whatever you can manage, it's all greatly appreciated. And I've had a good idea, and see how you think of this. This was a comment that was made by a YouTuber, in fact, that I think it was a lady that had mentioned that, why don't you donate to charity with the money that you get from PayPal? And I thought to myself, that's an absolutely brilliant idea. However, I've not got through the year yet. So my way of thinking is, at the end of the calendar year, when I know there's no marches on and there's money left in the pot, what I'm going to do, guys, I'm going to be as democratic. I'm going to probably give a choice of where I would give the money to. But I will probably, if I'm still doing this channel and all goes well, I will do a video and I will put it to you guys where you can give me your choice. Just one choice. I'll look through all the comments and I'll see which is the common denominator. And if that overrides, then democracy wins. I will send a check. Oh, not check. I will, whatever. That's providing that they want my money and they don't see me as some kind of racist Nazi that's a wronging. Coconut. Uncle Tom. So, we'll see what money's left over. But particularly, there's many marches to go to yet. There's still Poland as well, which will take 3 days' expenses when I'm out there. It's actually paid for. So there's still things, but any money left over, I won't just leave it in that PayPal to do that. I'll absolutely empty that account, drain it out, get the till drawer out, empty it on the table, and it'll all go to a said charity. So that's a brilliant idea. Whoever it was, if you're watching this, you know who you was, because I actually replied to you, so well done. And one last thing before I go, then I'm getting out of here because I feel like I'm just waffling. Right, apologies in regards to the sound on some of the last clips, and even the last event in Telford, there was sound issues. Now, some people have put it up to this and that, but I know because I was there and I know what's going on. So what I can tell you is, I have a shotgun mic, which people have seen on footage. It's like this furry thing that sticks forward. That's projecting and getting the sound, collating the sound from in front of you. That is fine. I have what they call a lapel mic, right? Now, because I'm using a normal everyday mobile phone, which is absolutely wicked, gives me pretty good pictures. It's only got one port. So now I've explained 2 microphones which should need 2 ports. So this is where you need something like this, okay? That is what they call 3.5mm jack to a splitter. So then technically that fits 2. So in one I fit the microphone, which is that, I'm probably creating a little bit of a whack now. And then in the other one, I'll fit my lapel in. Now, what I worked out is, this is a new lead, I picked this up today, but the other lead I was using was Demic For some reason, with this lead and any other lead, it should be equally 50-50 proportionately distributing. So you should be getting just as strong a sound from in front as from behind. And on other times it has, but for some reason the distribution was skew with. So it was like 70-30. You was getting the lapel mic 70% of the audio and 30% was coming off the shotgun, which when you look at the shotgun, it can't be the mic, it was the actual lead. How do I know that? Because I worked off process of elimination, because I know I plugged the plugs in the other way round for Telford, which caused on the train, it caused the footage coming out from my lapel mic quiet and the shotgun mic was picking up fine. So then I knew, oh right, so it must be that lead. So I've been that lead and I've got a new lead. So I do apologise. And one or two comments were saying, Phil's breathing's quite freaky. That it was just like overblowing my audio because it shouldn't even be picking up. But I hear what you're saying on some of that. I'm just like, it's a little bit over. But so hopefully that'll be rectified and Phil the heavy breather. Great Brit, apart from my channel, Phil's is the best, Tommy Robinson third. All right, you're not thinking highly of yourself, are you there, Mr. Great Brit? So yeah, that's about it. Like I say, apologies for the audio on that, and hopefully that'll be rectified. Hopefully you've enjoyed this, just doing this on my own, whether it's just rambling or what. This is too much information to just record it on a video. I hope it's made what could be a quiet and uninteresting Sunday night a bit more interesting. Maybe I've made it worse. Maybe I've just sent you to sleep and you're just waking up. Wake up. So anyway, I hope you've enjoyed it, guys. We'll be on the road very soon. I know I'm definitely earmarked in for April the 28th, which will be in Bristol. My youngest daughter has got a netball tournament on the same day. So I've got away with it. So I will be going, but I will be giving slide texts. What score? And well done to the England netball team doing Australia in the Commonwealth Games. My wife and my daughter were up early this morning watching that. So it's very, very relevant. So well done to you. So yes, I will be there in Bristol 28th. If I can make it any earlier to another event, I think Telford might be coming out. I've no idea of the full details of what's in front, but I have got to get my head back into work as well. So I know it's definitely going to be there with Annie Greek and all the rest of the guys, Jay the War Kettle, all of them get down there. I hope it's going to be a good event. Hopefully the weather's going to be good. It'll be a bit milder and we'll see what happens. So I'm going to get going, guys. Thank you for watching. I'll see if there's any questions relevant. Any relevant questions you want me to answer? I'll take a question before I get going. Anything that's popped up? No idea that whether it's just see you then, proud of you, brave man. Oh, I'm there. What, Phil? I can meet you at Tommy's 6th of May. Yeah, I'll be there 6th of May in London. Definitely there. Do I submit to Tannism? What's that mean? What happened to today? What? Hold on, that's gone quickly there. Legend, you going on the 6th? Yeah, I'm going on the 6th. Anything happening before the 6th? Like I say, there's definitely the Sharia. Immigrants and gays against radical Islam and Sharia law, which is in Bristol. That's the 28th of April. So that will be coming out. I'll do a video again closer to that time. Great Brit, am I on Twitter yet, Phil? No, I'm not, my friend. It's taking me all my time. I'll tell you one thing. I'm not the easiest person to get in touch with. What I am is, I like the idea of self-sufficiency of being off the grid. So before I even started getting into any of this, I was the kind of guy that hated my phone, only used it for certain things. I'm not a small talk kind of guy. I won't sit there and going backwards and forwards. If I've got something to say, I'll ring you up, say it, we'll deal with it, done and dusted. You might never hear from me for another 3 months. That's the type of guy I am. Not to say that you're wrong for doing anything over, that's just the type of guy I am. So, social media's never been one of my biggest, oh yeah, you know, whatever. And I get it, we're spreading information and it's quite important and quite legitimate, so I get it. However, getting onto Facebook, albeit being blackmailed by the Baroness, openly, in front of all of yous watched it. It's not even like there's a conspiracy. Tony's just blackmailed me. We done it on live stream. She done it. That's how brass neck she is. But I love her for it. It's still, I'm a self-sufficient guy. So when I come home, I literally put my phone down and like, I'm off the grid. I am off the grid. I don't live by it. I don't go through comments and, you know, I'll sporadically go through things. It's just the way I am. I'm probably getting more towards getting involved with it, but I'm not a guy who lives with my phone. So if you try to reach me, if you're on fire and you want to reach, don't reach me, because your house will be way burnt down before I've even realised that you phoned me. Never mind, answered the pissing call. So yeah, that's my answer to that. No to Twitter just yet. But hey ho, I said no to Facebook not so long back. I said no to YouTube just before that. So I'm being sucked in, you know, aren't we all? We all have to kind of go there. So I hope you've enjoyed the chat, guys. Is there any last minute questions? You need to put pressure on Milo to turn up. I don't know whether that's relevant to next March. Manchester Phil, you coming? Yeah, I'm not sure which March you're referring to, but yeah, I'll be there in Manchester. Robert Gillespie, right? Thanks very much, Phil. Lindsay, thank you, Lynn. Sarah DFLA one. I'm not sure what you're referring to there. Tavish, good night, Phil. Good night, McTavish. What else? Phil, will you be at Telford? I'm gonna try. Phil asked about the letter, Phil, and will the DFL... What? Someone asked about the letter. Phil, will the DVL... I don't know is the answer. Have a safe week, everyone. That's an open comment to everyone. Right, so yeah, we've kind of wrapped it up to an end. Thank you, guys. It's been a good stream. I've kind of exercised the demons. Hope it was beneficial to you all. So, night. If there's any positivity, it's the fact that we know it's happening and we can move and adjust ourselves. We've got other political bodies and other people that are going out about it in a positive way to deal with it. So that's a positive thing. It might sound like, oh, doom and gloom. It's not. Knowledge is power. Knowledge is power. We can deal with it. In a civil way. So anyway, I'm wrapping it up, guys. Thanks a lot for tuning in. Thanks a lot to everyone who's commented. And Great Brit, get them teddy bears over here as quick as you can. So, Phil, I have the answer, right? Don't we all? My friend? We all think we know what's going on, but we otherwise, you wouldn't be where you was. We're all trying to scratch our way and wonder what the pissing hell is going on. So, going on again, digressing. It's all about digressing, live streaming. Thanks a lot to everyone. Now, what I will say is, I love you all, even the pissing haters. So, thank you very much. I will see you all soon. And if you like what you're seeing tonight, maybe I'll do it again. But I do intend on it getting other people as well. So, love you all. Thanks a lot, guys. Bye-bye. See you later. Ta-ra.